Hi, my name is Delia, and welcome to my channel where I build agents and automations one step at a time. And if you don't have a technical background, not a problem, you're in the right place. Let's get started with today's video. So today we're going to be building the Copilot Engagement Agent. Let's set the stage a little bit. Let's imagine that you facilitate Copilot training sessions. And at the end of the call, you're most likely having to manage some administrative activities, right? Maybe it might look like sending an email out or posting to a Teams channel, something along those lines. And if you want to continue engagement amongst those who attended your call, you might want to share some best practices, use cases, maybe some prompts for them to test out. But let's be honest, that can take some time to create those posts, to post them, and all of that. And to do this maybe every week is quite time consuming. So instead, let's build an agent to help streamline some of those activities. Enter in the Copilot Engagement Agent. All right, so here we have the Copilot Engagement Agent. As you can see, there is a suggested prompt that we can start with, but I'm actually going to go to a previous conversation where I've staged some data just so it can quickly show you what this agent can do. Essentially, what this agent does is it will ingest your meeting transcript. It's going to analyze everything that you talked about, including any questions that maybe participants asked, any comments that were made that were captured in the transcript. It's going to take that and it's going to generate 5 days worth of communications that you can use to post to a Teams channel. So here we have, I started with a simple prompt of, based on this meeting transcript, generate engagement activities. And then I just pasted in my transcript. I'm going to scroll down so you can see it's a slightly lengthy transcript. It's a sample transcript that I had Copilot generate for me about Copilot notebooks. And so here we start seeing the response that I got based on that transcript. So you can see here are 5 days of Copilot Notebook engagement activities. Starting with day 1, we have a pro tip. Day 2, we have a practice prompt. Day 3, we have a use case. There's a mini challenge on day 4, and then there's team discussion. What's great about this agent is that notice that it gave me a variety of communications, right? It wasn't just 5 days worth of use cases or 5 days worth of tips or 5 days worth of practice prompts, right? But it gave me some variety throughout the day so that you're more successful in getting some engagement amongst your participant group. This is really great because each of these are focused on really helping to engage and further enable those who went through your training to give them some additional bits and pieces of knowledge so that they can implement in their day-to-day so that they're starting to build those habits to know when it's the best time to use a Copilot notebook, how to use it, and how to use it effectively. So that's what this agent does, is it will ingest your meeting transcript and give you 5 days worth of communications to post to a Teams channel, or if you'd like, you can also send these via email if you'd like. But the beauty about this and the fact and the reason really that I grounded the agent to create the output based on a transcript and not the deck is because if I were to have grounded it in my PowerPoint deck, it's the same content over and over again, and the output may not be all that great. But when I'm using the transcript instead of the deck, it's also taking into consideration any questions that were asked by participants, any comments that were made. And that's really what allows this agent to personalize the output because maybe you have a participant raise their hand and they want to share with you their use case or a challenge that they ran into. That context is really helpful to then be able to grab that and maybe use that as a potential use case in one of these posts or provide a prompt that's based on, those questions. And so that's what's really great about this agent is that it's not just grounded on the deck. Yes, you can do that, but it's grounded on the transcript. So exactly what was covered in that particular session that your participants attended. So now let's show how to actually build this. And the great thing about this particular agent is that it's built in Agent Builder, meaning it wasn't built in Copilot Studio, so it doesn't take a lot of complexities. It's pretty straightforward when building an agent builder. The only caveat, of course, is you do need a Copilot license. But let's start at the very beginning by navigating to Copilot, which is where I'm at, and opening the navigation. And over on the left-hand side, I'm going to go ahead and create an agent. This is where you access Agent Builder. Once we do that, you'll notice that on this page, I have two modes here. I have a describe and configure. For this, to show you just how easy it is to build this agent, I'm going to go to describe. Within the describe mode of Agent Builder, I'm now able to describe my agent in natural language, and Copilot will handle building the agent for me. And my analysis here doesn't need to be structured or anything. I can just, give it whatever it is on my mind in the order that it comes out in. So let's say I want to. All right, so this is what I've got. I said, I want to create an agent that will ingest a meeting transcript from a training session I led and provide me 5 days worth of Teams posts. Each post should focus on something new. The type of content should have some variety, for example, include pro tips, use cases, practice prompts, challenges, etc. Make it engaging and relevant to the content covered in the meeting transcript. So I'm just going to send that over. I really had no structure in mind. I just knew what I wanted to include and just started typing out. So now Copilot is taking what I gave it. It's identifying what my intentions are. And now it's also starting to build my agent in the background by adding instructions, adding a description, maybe enabling certain capabilities if they're needed, and also naming my agent. So you can see here, the agent is now set up to analyze your training session's meeting transcript. There will be varied Teams posts. The agent will access your meeting transcripts and Teams content for deep analysis. Conversation starters, meaning those suggested prompts, have been added, and also it added a name for my agent. All right, so I can keep this as is. I can make additional tweaks by saying, you know what, actually, maybe I say, training recap engagement is nice, but I really like the name Copilot Engagement Agent. So now I've told Copilot that, and now it's going to go in and make that update for me. Right here, we can see one, that the name has already been updated, so that was really quick. But two, we also see some of these suggested prompts, right? We have start recap plan, share a pro tip, give a practice prompt, motivate the team. So it already starts to not just take what my initial intention was, but to elaborate or add on to that I can see this one, right? Motivate the team, draft an inspiring message to keep the momentum going after training. That wasn't anything I necessarily said explicitly, but it took that and added it because it's trying to be helpful and trying to provide additional capabilities that the agent can have. So now I can go in and click create, but I actually want to go into the configure because I want to show you that it took my description and it built the agent. As you can see, it pre-populated each of these fields. It gave it a name, it added a description, it added instructions. From the instructions, you can see that it is structured in a way that will really help the agent understand its objective and what it's meant to do. There's a section for purpose, guidelines, step-by-step process, error handling, even examples, so on and so forth. And then down below, we see that we have the knowledge. So from here, you can actually see that it added my Teams chats and meetings. And then it didn't enable any capabilities because it didn't really need that based on my description. And then here are those suggested prompts. Now, I'm going to go back and actually say, I only want. All right, so I'm telling Copilot that I really only want the agent to leverage the meeting transcript that the user is providing and not have access to any other knowledge sources. The reason I'm saying that is because I don't want my agent to grab the meeting transcript, but then maybe also grab some other information that it can access in my, my Teams or my Teams channels and meetings and chats and such. I don't want that to affect the way that it generates an output. So I provided that additional guidance, and you can see now that the agent will now only leverage the meeting transcript provided by the user and will not access anything else. So now I can actually go and double check that. So if I go back to configure, scroll down to my knowledge, you'll notice that that team section is gone because it was first added on there, which means that I'm giving my agent access to my Teams channels and chats and stuff. But now that I said that I don't want that, it removed it. So this looks great. I'm going to go ahead and click create. So notice how simple that was. I just described my agent in natural language. Copilot took on the rest in building the agent for me. I maybe went back and forth a little bit to make some additional tweaks, and now I clicked create and I was able to build that agent in a matter of minutes. So here I have my Copilot Engagement Agent. Let's test out some of those suggested prompts. We can expand this to see a few more. But let's start with start recap plan. I led a training, analyze the transcript, and draft engaging post for my team. So now below that, I'm going to paste in my transcript and click send, and we'll see what we get back. So I'm going to scroll down. You can see the stop button, which tells me that Copilot or my agent is still working on generating a response. So once that goes away, we'll be able to actually see the output that our agent gave us. All right, so here we have 5 ready to post Teams messages. Just at a glance, it's still, you can tell it's still working. But at the very least, or so far, we can see that we have a pro tip for day 1. As we go to day 2, we have a use case, discovery phase and consulting, just based on the transcript that I fed it. Then as we progress to day 3, we have a practice prompt with details and, it has rich text and it has emojis and things like that. And then we have a challenge. So here's the challenge and it outlines what the challenge is. It provides a prompt that users can feed into Copilot to, again, to test some of the functionality there. And then we have day 5. That's exactly what I was looking for this Copilot Engagement Agent. And as you can see, it was really straightforward. And that's just how easy you can build agents in Agent Builder. Take today's case of building the Copilot Engagement Agent. I hope this video was helpful. If so, please be sure to help and like and subscribe and do all the things. I'll be adding a link to my GitHub profile where I've added the agent instructions for this particular agent. But as you can see, it's pretty straightforward. You can build it yourself. But in case you don't want to, I'll make sure to share the agent instructions and step-by-step process again of how to walk through this exact same process. Until next time, bye.